And let's get straight away into our person of interest today.
Okay, so we're going to be taking a look today at Ultraviolette. Ultraviolette is an incredibly cool company. They develop EV motorbikes, in fact, the fastest in India. And we were actually lucky enough, fortunate enough, to sit down with the CEO and have a conversation with him to understand a little bit more about the design philosophy behind Ultraviolette. We also want to point out to you they're actually going to be having an event today in which they're going to be highlighting their entire lineup. And it's going to be taking place today itself. They're going to be unveiling all of it. So we thought it's a great moment to actually bring them on, speak to them a little bit about their design philosophy, their entire story. The company's been around since 2016. That's when it was first ideated. Where it stands today and how it stands today is what we're going to be taking a look at. That's
so
actually
those on your screen actually are Narayan Subramaniam and Neeraj Rajmohan. They are the co-founders of Ultraviolette. They are these fast and cool bikes which are EV. And of course, we try to understand from them on what the fastest Indian motorcycle, as they symbolize that as their own, very own homegrown integrity, is actually based on. Also, so let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into and having that chat with them and welcome them on the program.
Okay, so should we go with the first question? First, let's just ask both of the founders, but Narayan's with us today, so we'll ask him the story. Narayan, good morning. Thank you for joining us here on the club. How did you come up with this? We were just showing our audiences a second ago visuals of you and your co-founder. Was it a childhood dream? Because you've known him for years and, we have this idea that, the two co-founders when they were 5 or 6 were playing with bikes and then they thought, hum ye karenge. Was it something like that or not at all?
So, I mean, what you say is true. We've got a great chemistry of working together. What actually happened is 4 years at university, we were in the same college as well during engineering. Worked on several projects and won over 50 different competitions across India, which involved robotics, aviation, automotive, and whatnot. This gave us a really good working chemistry of bringing together, creative thinking across different formats of design, engineering, electronics, robotics, whatnot. And we, in fact, started working with lithium-ion cells as early as 2003 and 4, right? So this today is the DNA of Ultraviolette. And to answer your second question, no, we had no plans at that point of doing this together. Both of us went our separate ways. I was in the automotive industry, 2 masters in automobile design, worked in Europe, worked in Japan. Neeraj parallelly was working across India and the US in the software and the electronics world. And what we sensed was India has been playing catch up to the east or the west when it came to tech in the automotive space. And our view was, we were sure there's talent in India, hardware, software, auto industry, all of it is really strong. Could we create a difference? Could we create a company or a product that could set new benchmarks for what India could do in the automotive world? That today is the genesis of Ultraviolette.
Interesting, but there's so much happening in the two-wheeler EV space in the country, right? And some experts also say that in India we haven't perhaps encouraged enough creative innovation in tech. How do you think your company changes that?
What you say is true. That's been the history over the last couple of decades or so. A lot of companies operating in the service industry. And our view, we have Indian talent contributing to great successes in hardware fields across the world in different companies, right? And our view was, isn't it time that India can showcase this? And yes, like you rightly said, creativity is the core of what we do. The teams or the collective group of people coming together and the folks involved in the whole endeavor need to have and share the same mindset and passion. And that is in fact what we've curated at Ultraviolette, which allows us to be really really creative, of course keeping commercial objectives and implications on mind. We have a lot of great ideas, but ultimately you need to bring them to market and have a lot of people benefit and experience all of this tech. So that's us.
Can we push you a little to give us a concrete example of this creativity that we're saying that Ultraviolette embodies? Can you just walk our audiences through what a creative decision has looked like?
The segment that we took up on the mid segment of motorcycles, which is the equivalent power levels between say 300 to 500 cc vehicles in the IC world, did not have any of the tech readily available, right? So we had to build all of it ground up. So the vehicle architecture, for instance, on an IC engine vehicle, you have an engine that weighs about 20-25 kgs, and you have a petrol tank that weighs about 10-15 kgs, depending on how much fuel. The mass distribution is really different. In our case, you have a battery pack and a power module, and the drivetrain unit, that is a concentrated mass system. While the mass distribution is different on a vehicle, we still had a rider to experience the same perfect handling and road dynamics on any terrain that he's riding on. So this had to involve a different school of thought altogether. This is where we brought in the world of aviation and aerospace. The person that leads all of this development at Ultraviolette, Vinayak Bhatt, he comes from backgrounds like ISRO and Safran, working on various structural systems on aircraft. So the chassis engineering actually took that, the genesis was from the world of aviation in terms of how we design the architecture of the bike ground up, where you have different components on the vehicle, yet you have the same dynamics and handling that you're used to on any of the existing good IC motorcycles. So this is a great example. Another is, of course, the battery tech. On our side, we've heard a lot about battery safety in the recent times. This was of paramount importance for us. Today, the teams leading battery safety also come from the world of aviation, working with companies like Honeywell for over decades, where aircraft electronics require a very, very high level of safety and failure-proof systems, which is what has led to us having multiple patents on our safety systems on the batteries, all the way from mechanics to electrics to electronics to software to thermal safety. So this required all of these engineering teams to come together, get down to fundamentals, and build solutions that had to be creative and executed for the first time. So I would say these are some very crucial but very creative approaches that involved the field of aviation and aerospace to help us solve problems on the automotive front.
I see. All right. So, innovation and creativity is one aspect. When it comes to EV, one has to talk about the practical problems as well. How are you dealing with infrastructural challenges like charging bikes, for example, which has been a constant roadblock for the EV takeoff in two-wheelers?
Okay. Yeah, these are also areas where we have to get really creative to solve the problems. We are in the world of motorcycles, so for us, solving range anxiety was a crucial part of the problem statement earlier on itself. So this had to be solved in three ways. One, providing enough and more range on the motorcycle. So our technology today, our vehicles, the F77s, come with the highest range in all of Asia. IDC tested range of 323 kilometers on a single charge. For context, is more than a full tank of what a petrol can get you, right? So we've solved for range on the vehicle side. Next was making energy availability on the go simple. So the chargers that you get with the vehicles, we have two versions, the standard and the boost charger. Both of these are portable. You can carry them with you on a longer ride, and all you need is a 15 amp socket to plug into. And we've simplified this. Some of our owners in the recent past, person namely Bala from Chennai and Harish from Bangalore, these are guys who've done 10,000 kilometer rides across the nation, from South India to Nepal to the border of Bangladesh, Bhutan, and back to Bangalore in just about 25-30 days, right? And all of these rides have involved using the chargers that come with the motorcycle, plugging into any 15 amp socket. Now, beyond this, we also recognize the need for further simplification of long distance riding. We've launched a program called the UV Supernova charging network. Now, these are 6 and 12 kilowatt chargers that we are deploying across the country. We've partnered with HPCL on this front, and 2025, you're going to see an accelerated ramp up of our charging network, the UV Supernova. This is going to enable you to get from 20 to 80% in about 30 to 40 minutes of time.
Wow. Okay. That is very impressive. Tell us a little bit about the event you're going to be having, Fast Forward India 2025. What's the purpose of the event? Why has Ultraviolette decided to hold it?
Sure. So, as you would have seen by now, a lot of this is leading the EV tech in the two-wheeler space in India, and that's what Ultraviolette stands for. And what you've seen today is the F77, which is a great performance-oriented motorcycle. And our approach to building tech has been top-down. Our view on our entry into the world of EVs was to have a product that solves for the highest demands in terms of range, power, performance, and safety. Now that we have done that, and it's taken us a good 7 years of R&D, what we built in-house is a very strong vertically integrated systems across the core EV tech stack, from the drivetrain, the battery tech to the vehicle electronics, right? So we believe now it's giving us the advantage to branch into multiple segments. So UV Fast Forward India is a showcase of what our plans are for the next 2 years and an accelerated roadmap to how Ultraviolette is going to go from one product which we've got in the market today to a range of about 5 different segments in the two-wheeler space. And this encompasses everything from motorcycles to scooters and enables a whole new level of access to the UV platform from people across the country, both in terms of utility of the products, use cases and price points. So this is what UV Fast Forward 25 is all about. And of course, along with the product unveils, there is a lot of tech being showcased and how our vehicles are progressively going to get smarter and more capable in months to come.
All right. Is this also a good time to sort of understand on why and how an made in India ultraviolet bike is perhaps better, or how do you think it scores against any of the other companies and in fact even countries doing it? Germany, Italy, Japan, all of them have been on this journey on EV bikes. So how do you think India fares and ultraviolet fares against that?
Core of what the brand stands for: design, technology and performance. When it comes to design, these are very, very futuristic, provocative design that you see in the world of motorcycles. Very fresh. When we recently unveiled them at EICMA, the feedback has been great. The entire European community really resonated with the view of what Ultraviolette brings in terms of design. In terms of tech, these are the most advanced electric motorcycles available in the world. When I say advanced, I'm talking in terms of performance, I'm talking in terms of safety, ABS, traction control, dynamic stability control. We have an AI system called Violet AI that is running a whole new loop of security features on the vehicle. So tech is well and above what the market is at. And of course, in terms of performance, these are very exciting machines, highest in class torque, 100 Newton meters of torque, and amazing range for you to take care of your urban and urban plus riding use cases. So it's a combination of these three that are exciting for the European market. And like you said, we should be on the roads in Europe in the next month.
Oh.
Okay, Narayan, we're just about to let you go, but lastly, let's just ask you, what are your words of advice to young founders? One famous quote is move fast and break things. Are you that kind of founder? Is that the advice you're giving young kids who might want to do something like what you're doing today?
I would say surround yourself with people who have the right mindset and the passion. And while we're talking about Fast Forward India today, that has been after about slow and steady progress for a good 8 years of time. So when you're developing tech, make sure you take the time, build it the right way. Consumer trust is really important. Go about all of that the right way, and when you're armed with the right data and the tech to scale up, that is when you begin accelerated ramp up of your plans. So I'd say take it slow, take it steady, build everything the right way, and then accelerate progress from that point on.
All right, Narayan, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thank you so much for joining us, and here's wishing you zooming success and zipping fast speed coming your way. Thanks so much for speaking to us here on The Breakfast Club.
All right, let's head into a quick break. On the other side, we're not done. We're taking you to stories that are taking place in India, across the world, and we're going to leave you with a video through the rest of the day. We have some more on the ground road reviews. Join us, stay with us. This is The Breakfast Club.